love got to do with it? So dealing with this subject matter, when we say basically we are full of love, that's a powerful demonstration. Because like I said, either you full of love or you full of something else. And what is the opposite of love? Hatred. You know, what follows love? What follows love? Truth, peace, freedom, and justice. What follows hatred? Slander, lewdness, murder, theft, and everything that harms. So we know those things cannot be the same. You see, when you're dealing with the two. We were trying to educate some of our family last night. And I don't know if some of our Moorish kin may have seen it, but it wasn't nothing too much great to see, so to speak. Just another measure of our family actually still losing themselves when it comes to dealing with the knowledge of self. You know, so we just give praises to the great God, you know, for giving us the insight. We give praises to the great God for giving us the wisdom to know the difference between self-hatred and self-love. Until we learn the difference between self-hatred and self-love, there will always be conflict when it comes to dealing with our people. So our people are looking for any excuse to be in opposition. You can be on the manifest teaching them but love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And that's all your people know from you. But if they have been indoctrinated with a westernized mindset, they will never respect that love that you are giving to them, because they have been taught self-love is self-hate. Now, how that's going to be possible, we already know that ain't possible. But unfortunately, some of our people believe that it's possible to love and hate in the same space. They say they want love, but when they see love on the manifest, they mock at it. They say they want love, but when they see love on the manifest, they have no regards to dealing with those who love them. And all of this comes from the way that one has been radicalized and homogenized, so to speak, when it comes to dealing with this westernized thought pattern. It has to do with those who cannot see beyond being enslaved and being somebody else's property, being subject to what we call somebody else's assumable jurisdiction, being subject to being somebody else's pushover. As our brother El Hajj Malik Shabazz, the late great Malcolm X, would say, being run amok and led astray. Easy to be led in the wrong direction and hard to be led in the right direction, as our family in the nation of gods and earths would say. You know, deaf, dumb, and blind, 85%. You know, poison animal eaters. You know, this is the terminology they would use in reference to dealing with one's diet. And it is the same when it comes to dealing with the mental diet that our people have accepted over here in the West. It is just as dangerous as the physical diet. Yeah, the mental diet that our people had been consuming over here is just as dangerous as the physical diet, you know, and what it is that they have been putting in their physical body. Because if the mental diet is not on point, we have learned scientifically that whatever you put in your body physically, it still won't have a potent effect, so to speak. So it's the same thing when we're dealing with the truth. Based upon what it is that we are consuming, mentally, physically, or spiritually, it will have an effect on what it is that we are able to receive. And this is why you hear the idiom often being demonstrated, you are what you eat. That's a real statement, family. You are what you eat mentally, physically, and spiritually. So truly, if you love yourself, then you wouldn't put just any old thing in your body. You see, if you really love yourself, you wouldn't just go to consuming any old thing, because you know that the European diet is just plain poison. And if you know that the European diet is plain poison, then no one would consciously consume a thing that they know is going to be harmful for them. I mean, if they had sense, if they had it in their right mind. And so you'll often hear us tell our people, when you know better, you do better. You can't love what you don't know. And don't let nobody tell you that. If somebody don't know themselves, how can they love themselves? How can you love something that you have no knowledge of? Right now, around us, we may say that we love the whole of humanity, right? And this is true to heart. But we really can't see the suffering of those who are in the midst of fallen humanity right now. And humanity is indeed falling, and they suffering right now. As we speak now, there are many that are suffering among the masses, so to speak. So we don't really know to the extent that a people is suffering. We don't know the actual extent that there may be people that are in need, are in want, so to speak. But if we seen these things, then it will bring us to a certain state of mind to where we would want to do something about it. I mean, if we are following the teachings of our holy prophet, if we truly believe in what it is that he brought us and everything it is that he has taught us, you know, we couldn't help but feel the struggles of fallen humanity. And if we don't feel the struggles of fallen humanity and what it is that they are going through and have been through, then, I mean, because we can relate to the fact that everybody around the world is going through something, you know. So we don't love just for the sake of seeing the people suffer. We love for the sake of Allah. We love for the sake of Allah, because he is the one that will put us in certain situations, put us in certain surroundings in regards to dealing with the reality of being able to change conditions in certain cases. Whatever it is that we strive to demonstrate when it comes to aid and assisting ones, we can only do what we are allowed to do based upon the resources that we are given. And a lot of times people think resources have to do with the manifest, but resources have to do more with what we call our gross national product. You know, wisdom. Wisdom speaks from out of the highest plane of spirit life. And once we have the ability to operate along the line of dealing with this special wisdom, then we can truly align ourselves with what our mission truly is. And once there's an alignment in relation to dealing with that mission, if it's in accord with deific will, we will be successful in our endeavors. We will be successful in the affairs as we seek to carry out our purpose. Because that's the key. You hear me talk about it all the time, Moorish Ken. We have to find our purpose. And when we find our purpose, this we will come into the reality of the work that we have been called to do. You know, whatever it is that we have been allotted by the great God Allah, whatever he has delegated to us from his divine authority, and we will love to demonstrate in this particular way. I'm pretty sure among our people, there's no one who actually loves to see our people go through the trials and tribulations. And like we spoke of, the struggles, even though we know struggle build character. No one would sit back and love this. Even Yehoshua didn't. Yehoshua did not like to sit back and watch people suffer while everybody else was celebrating and eating, drinking, and being merry. And neither should we. And so when we go into the essence of this special blessing and realize what's actually being told to us, the instructions that we are being given, then it begins to make more sense when it comes to the reality, what love truly is, as opposed to what love is being romanticized about. You know, and it's a sad situation, family, when we have our people turning on each other in regards to dealing with, you know, just the basic aspect of the truth and information. You know, I was invited to a platform which I had been on previously a couple of times before, only to realize that I was in the midst of an ambush. You know, it's terrible, a terrible situation. You know, ones that and I'm learning this right here. You know, the more you love on your people, some of them just destined to be opposition. For some reason, and I know what it is, because certain people feel in order for them to exist, you know, they can't coexist with you. In order for them to have some existence, you know, they feel like they have to get you out the way. This is a westernized mentality. This is a mentality of competition. This is a mentality of us versus them. You know, me versus you, you versus me. You know, we versus them versus us, and you know, just all over the place. You know, and ones are very much trained well, and it's sad because ones have been misled by agents of chaos, and they are willfully allowing themselves to take place. We had a conversation with some of our family, and the question was supposed to be in relation to, did Moorish science derive from Western Freemasonry? And, you know, no matter how many times I told ones pretty much that, you know, Moorish science is pretty much as ancient as what our ancestors had brought forth. So it can never be the result of Western Freemasonry. Ones was pushing a narrative. And so a question came up, you know, by a sister that was once a Moor. And she's now converted into being I guess you can call them Native Americans, is what they want to call themselves, Indians, you know, Aboriginals, Abos, whatever they want to call themselves. That's what she thinks she is now. And it's something else, because I seen this sister as being a strong Moorish sister. I didn't have no opposition to her, nothing that I don't care about her changing from what it was she came from. But she found a piece of information in regards to dealing with a symbol that we have on the questionnaire with the prophet stepping out of the water, you know, with one foot on the land and one foot in the water. And he has the sister in his arm. And so she was asking me about this symbolism, and as it relates to dealing with some Aztec symbolism that really wasn't even in the making until after the time of the prophet, you know. And I give our family some insight that's looking at this, because it's very important that our people see this and hear of this. And I'm going to show you how bad our people are misled. And it was her position that Prophet Noble Drew Ali was hiding or trying to keep secret a story that she believed was being told because of the symbolism that she had come across. Now I'm going to show you something on how to mind the matriculation, you know, so to speak. And I'm using that term in a different way that it's normally used, because I know what it really means. I'm saying matriculation as in trick knowledge, as opposed to the matriculation that has to do with, you know, a form of education that one can receive, even though we can say this is a form of education too. but it's just not the right type of education. In other words, we call it high training. So I want to put this up here and show you how easily our people can be misled. And I hope somebody's watching me, because I wouldn't have been able to do this on that platform last night because, to my surprise, it just wasn't going to be allowed to happen. Ones was not going to allow me to really give a clear thought. And this has never happened before. Thought I was welcome to the platform. So I end up leaving rather than getting into an argument. I was cordial as I normally am. But I end up being surrounded by pretty much, like I say, an ambush of pretty much Masons and Eastern Stars. You see, and I know that I understood when that was being going on, that ones didn't really want to hear what it was that I was bringing. They was really trying to attack the paradigm, but I was ready for it, especially when I seen certain elements there. And I was really just laughing at this here because it was crazy. I was like, I had probably 7, 8, 9, 10 people on the panel, and all of them was hurling. They was hurling falsehood out there, and I was doing what I normally do, more. Y'all know I stand in defense, but I was doing it even, like I said, in a more level measure. I didn't even bring them a lot of heat. I just brought the truth, but I just felt it was a time for me to depart from the place, and I left the place because it wasn't worth my presence being there. So on the screen here, we finna show you something, and this is what this particular sister was trying to speak of, what is called the Grandeza Azteca. And it was her thought that what we have on our questionnaire with the prophet stepping out of the water came from this image of the Aztec. Now I'm going to show you how easily one can be deceived and misled. First and foremost, this image ain't got nothing to do with what our prophet demonstrated. And I'm going to show you how we're going to kill this whole argument before it get legs and people think they can use this to attack anything Prophet Noble Drew Ali brought. So when she asked me, what was the meaning of our prophet stepping out of the water, with the sister in his arm, I told her that this is in reference to the book of Revelations and the prophet being the seventh angel. Stepping out of the cares of the world, which the waters, that's what they represent, raging waters, stepping out of troubled waters upon the solid foundation stone of salvation, a rock of salvation, basically uplifting fallen humanity. Again, stepping out of the cares of the world upon a solid rock of salvation, uplifting fallen humanity. That's the most basic aspect on that. Ain't nothing all deep and where you got to break down each and every element of why the water is the way it is and the stone is what it is. It's a plain message that the prophet is bringing forth. And prior to the night before, she had already brought this forth, and it was okay, we're going to let you come forth and demonstrate, and then she came forth and added this in. So the symbol that you see right here on the screen, if you look at it, one would say, okay, that looks similar to what Prophet Noble Drew Ali was doing. Problem is with this, if you look down there at the bottom of this symbol, it tells you when this came into existence in 1948, which is 20 years after the prophet brought forth the actual questionnaire, where you see him stepping out. So this is 20 years after the prophet, a little bit over, maybe 22 years even, because this say 1948, the questionnaire really surfaced around 1926. If we really want to go into the true history of the print, some people say 27, 26. But this image that she have here was created, actually by an individual by the name of Jesus Helguera in 1948. Prior to this painting that he had created during that time, there was just a story that was being told by the Aztecs about what this sister was trying to make reference to. But when you go into the story of the Aztec, you will find out that there is no water that is behind one on this image right here. In fact, water is nowhere on the manifest, so one is not stepping out of water for one aspect. There was a volcanic eruption that was said to take place in this story, and this one had went out to battle to come back and find his beloved, pretty much in her demise. And so this was said to be a love story. So, that's why I feel it's more relative to what we're talking about right now than anything. But anyway, it said that she passed away of him being in battle from a broken heart, or whatever the case may be. Beautiful symbolism when you go into the drawing that's being given. But, she felt like this was something that the Moors was holding back as a secret, and that Prophet Noble Drew Ali's symbolism came from this. And so I told her, sister, I say, well, you would have to find that story that you speaking of, you would have to go into the teachings of the prophet and show where he has a teaching that is speaking on this, rather than just going and get a picture. Because I say, how many pictures in the world you can find a man stepping out of somewhere with a woman in his arm? This is a universal symbolism, so to speak, is what we were. And it was our sister that was hosting on the panel trying to tell her the same thing, saying, sister, I don't know what this is. But, she made it a matter of a contention. I respected it a whole while. And by the time it was over with, even when I got off the panel, oh, man, they were dragging me, and I ain't never said nothing to this sister out the way. And they was going off, just going off. They was trying to make Moors be Masons. And I kept telling them, we are different. We are not Masonic. We are not affiliated. We don't claim nothing from them. Our symbolism don't come from Mason. And I was telling them that also it's a difference between an Egyptian adept and an Egyptian shriner. And they didn't get it. Then they let a Mason up on the panel, and he just started talking, being disrespectful. And if I'm the guest and somebody goes over you and they begin to talk, you can't even teach the people the truth. So that's when I just dropped off the panel, but I still paid attention to what was going on. And I give honors to the brothers, because there were brothers on that panel that was actually standing in defense, and they seen exactly what was going on. The Mason asked me a question about General Tariq Ibn Ziyad. Did I know who he was? He called him by his full name, Tariq Ibn Ziyad. And I said, you talking about General Tariq? And the brother responded, no, that's not right. That's not correct. By that time I ended up getting off the thing, and it was people that caught it. And he came right back and said the same thing that I already said. That's that Masonic tricknology. And I was just telling them about the boule, because, anytime you go to talking about Masonry, if you want to bring them out to the open where they begin to show who they are, and they might have been hiding there all the while and you didn't know who they was, start talking about Masonry being the child of Moorish science and not the other way around. Start talking about us being revealers of the light and them being concealers of the light. And you will see there will be a lot of opposition that'll come at you. So, I'm looking at this now and I see that there's a lot of opposition. And I see, and what I'm looking at is good, because I'm seeing I'm looking at the bright side of the situation. It's actually causing these groups to come together. Just like with the MST of A. Y'all remember when they used to attack us? Moorish kin, they would attack us and attack our flag, and it actually caused a lot of them to come together, even though they were coming together to try to come in opposition to us, but it brought them into some form of unity. And I'm seeing the same thing now with these people that's calling themselves aboriginals and abos, and they're looking at me again as being in the way. They got to get me out of the way of teaching this Moorish teaching in order for them to truly push their abo philosophy. I know that's what they're thinking, but they'll never be able to do that, because I'm a soldier of Allah. And the truth that I'm going to come with going to always be hard fact. And you got to deal with it. So you can click up. It can be 100 of y'all, and I'm going to stand on who I am. And whereas a lot of them flipping, branch hopping, so to speak, from being who they was. You Moorish 1 minute, now you think you something else. And like I told them last night, and I'm going to say it again, there is no salvation under being no so-called Native American. There ain't no salvation under being no religious corporation, because both of these are subject to federal and state jurisdiction. In other words, for example, every religious corporation that you can find is subject to state jurisdiction. When you get into dealing with these so-called native tribes and Native Americans, we don't say this to beat them up and bash them. They are subject to a federal charter of the United States. Now, let's look at who we are as Moorish American Muslims in the government. We don't say this just because we in the government. We showing you the difference between the three. And this is very important because we have those in our ranks who even think that they have some power by trying to claim native ancestry. So I want to give you the 3 different degrees of unfoldment. Let's make them like the 3 steps on the master's carpet, since y'all like Western Freemasonry so much. But let's just look at the religious corporation being subject to the state. That would be the lowest level. Let's look at the native aspect of being a representation, or the aboriginal indigenous. We already know the Moors are the ones that are really indigenous to the land. But let's look at those who think that they are Indians, that's on the federal charters on a reservation. Let's look at them as the second step above the first step. So both of them think they got themselves nothing, but they still subject to the US of A. Now let's go to this last degree of unfoldment that goes outside of both state jurisdiction and federal jurisdiction. The only thing that can supersede that would have to be one becoming a successionist in their own nation. Just like the United States broke away from Great Britain, it has to do with us breaking away and building our own nation. So this deals with what we call international law. And international law is not subject to state nor federal jurisdiction. International law is utilized by nations. International law is utilized by governments. International law is used by those who would truly demonstrate what we call self-determination. So if we was looking at these as 3 steps on the master's carpet, then what do you think, would be the master state of existence? Can you be a master and be a slave under a state charter? Can you be a master and be a slave under a federal charter? Nope. But when you step out of the realm of the 2, you can be a master of your own destiny when you demonstrate at the realm of theocracy. And once you get in the realm of theocracy, that transcends everything, because now you're talking about rule under God. Now, what is the main aspect of dealing with rule under God? Love. Love. And I want y'all who are looking at this image to go do your own research and look at this. Now, you can fool the people that don't know no better, but we know that this is a volcano behind this image. Ain't no water nowhere even depicted in the story, and it wasn't even an image until this image was created. These images you looking up here at, it was created 20 years after the prophet. So if the prophet's measure was a predating of this, then it could actually mean that maybe that one that came up with this particular image was actually influenced by Moorish science, since he came 20 years later and came up with this concept, that he came up with. So that would kill the argument, that ones was trying to demonstrate, talking about the Moors are we are Masonic and we trying to hide that we get the image of the prophet on the beginning of the 101s. What is that to hide? This so-called secrecy. You see, Moorish wisdom would have said, okay, this thing right here again is older. I mean, the prophet's image is older than what's going on. So could the prophet's measure had an effect more on this than the other way around? Remember, it's 20 years after the prophet. For example, if we were to see, I'll give you another example. If we were to see, and I gave this example last night, in Greece, they have a picture of Atlas holding up what is called, which is the globe. That's why when you see an atlas that you normally have, if you have them in libraries, the atlas is, the globe, that you have. And many of us have the atlas. We learn about them when it comes to dealing with certain social studies, so to speak. I got an atlas over here. I actually had 2 or 3 of them, and I always put them by my books, and I put it on the African side a lot of times. But, there's an image of Atlas holding up the globe, and we can find, if we come in the United States, an image, just say, of a European kneeling down just like Atlas, and then having a globe with the world is yours on it. So they didn't have the world is yours on the actual measure that you can find in Greece, but you may have the world is yours, on the Atlas, and somebody holding that up, and what would be the relevance of this? Even if there was a connection between the two in symbolism, and somebody didn't speak on one or the other, what is that for somebody to keep secret? What is it to try to keep a secret of a symbol that actually deal with more of confirmation? There's also a symbol in the Resurrection Moorish Science Temple of America where the brother actually had a sister on the ground with the scimitar next to her. And he also had our flag, with the pentagram and the star above it, with the 4 quadrants, just like our flag, the Dingaleo. They actually have it on the back of that same pamphlet or the Resurrection Questionnaire or whatever, they little book, they teachings. So if we find a picture, with that image, a brother standing beside the sister while she on the ground, we're going to say also that picture came from that image, so to speak. And if this is a connection, for example, in regards to dealing with, the Aztec concept, right? It wouldn't even surprise us from that aspect, because the prophet, and that's the thing, she was talking about Mexican symbolism, in the teachings of the Moors, and if the Moors, if there was a connection to this in regards to dealing with what we call these symbols, then in the same token, one would basically go right to what the prophet said. He talked about the Mexicans being also Moorish Americans. When we go into the history that he ran down, he tell you that these were our people too. The Chileans, San Salvador, all of the different islands, that are mentioned, so to speak. The prophet actually spoke on these people. So if anything, like I said, it would have to be an influence, like of the Moorish more than anything upon the author of this thing. Over here we have one that's actually saying Amor Azteca, right? We know amor means love, and this amor is adopted in the Spanish, even though they're trying to demonstrate a Mayan aspect, You will hear a lot of the Latin family say that they come from the Aztecs and the Olmecs, and they'll talk about this. But amor, that same word amor, known as love, and I was trying to teach them about some etymology last night. You can trace it back to ancient Kemet, and you will find that this word goes all the way back to the word mir. And mir has many definitions. Mir represents the land. Mir represents the man. Mir represents love. All the way back to ancient Kemet. So even the word love itself, Kemetically, has certain roots that are there. It also has to do with, overseer and a whole bunch of other things. And our people just have to learn how to embrace the truth. They got to learn how to embrace the truth. And I was trying to give them the real history, like I touched on some things, and showed them the symbolic meaning of the Great Pyramid. I actually read from Exhuming of a Nation, our chairman's book, where he was talking about the Great Seal, and giving the real history. And I was showing them that when you go to the Giza complex, that behind the Great Pyramid that the Europeans tried to adopt their Great Seal from, that's why they call it great. Behind that Great Seal is the Northwest Cemetery. In all actuality, we deal with Northwest America. We could even say extension from that, a Mexican over here. But when we deal with that special aspect, family, and we talk about Northwest America, if it comes down to dealing with that special drawing, when we get into what we call the Northwest Cemetery, and I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about so y'all can see it. I was trying to show them the real secret that was being held back since people wanted to talk about secret and secrecy and Western Freemason. I wasn't even able to really get into a true aspect of the measure of giving them the history of some of these things that have been put out here, because they were so busy trying to speak out of turn, so to speak. And you would see me, I would sit there and let them speak, and then when I start speaking, all of a sudden ones would cut it off. I'm gonna show y'all what I'm talking about right here, so we can see that what the sister is pushing out here is definitely conjecture, like I told on the page that she was pushing conjecture, and she got upset about that. She say I said that because she left Moorish, the Moorish nation. I didn't even know that she had crossed over to be a so-called Aboriginal. So I want to show you a few things here that's relevant to what I'm talking about and how deep etymology is. We're gonna get to the word love in a minute, and I showed our Moorish kin this before. Hold up, let me make sure I got this thing on here so it don't power off, because I see my power going low. I just want to make sure I got this thing on here so it don't. Okay, give me a second here. There we go. Okay, as long as I got that there, okay, I know I ain't putting it where it need to be. Okay, there we go. So we got some charge on. So basically, if you look here, I want people to understand what etymology is, because I'm gonna go to that word love in ancient Kemet in a minute. The definition of etymology is the history of a linguistic form, right, such as a word, shown by tracing its development since its earliest recorded occurrence in the language where it is found, by tracing its transmission from one language to another, So you go to the earliest root of the word in etymology that you can find it in English. And then you go to a cognitive connection, so to speak, that goes through germination, a morphology. Some people like to use that terminology, to another language. So people think that when you get up here and compare these words, the ones who are ignorant of tracing etymology, oh, he just taking a word because it say this and meaning that. No, words have lineages. Words have lineages just like we have a lineage. That's why we can take the word mayor and trace it all the way back to Kemet. And it means the same thing in ancient Kemet that it means right now. A governor of a city. Overseer is what they like to translate it as. A mayor, a governor of a city. There are also mir that are known as sheiks of tribes. You see what I'm saying? They use even that terminology in some of the translations. But anyway, it says, again, by tracing its development, a word now, since its earliest recorded occurrence in the language where it is found, by tracing its transmission from one language to another, by analyzing it into its component parts, by identifying its cognates in other languages, or by tracing it and its cognates to a common ancestral form and ancestral language. So those of you who think that one is just trying to find words, I'm going to give you a prime example right here. Let me give you a lesson in linguistics. So here we have, for example, Asa. And the root of Asa in ancient Kemet is ASR, right? But then there's another form in reference to dealing with Asa is also USR. The only difference between these words is the A and the U has been replaced, between each other. So A now becomes U. And then we have another root here where we go into WZR. The two letters that change and what we call sound shifting will be W and Z, right? So the W and Z replaces the U and the S because we know U and W are also cognates in etymology. So it goes from Osar to Osir and then to Wazir. I ain't even got to go into the Osiris aspect, even though I have it down here as Wasir at the bottom, because now the O, has come forth from the W or the U. So all of these are vowels that are interchangeable. But let's go into the definition of each word. For example, Asa represents a station in ancient Kemet, a station that represents power and authority in all actuality. You go into the word Osir, it means an ancient Egyptian official, right? Well, let's go into the cognate in Arabic, a totally different language, because Asa in Osir is in the Kemetic language. When you go into the Arabic, that Egyptian official, which represents a station of authority, or what we would call like an executive ruler, becomes Wazir. What is Wazir in Arabic? A high-ranking political advisor or minister. So we can see through the change of the word, though you are dealing with simple changes of the vowel and maybe a consonant when we deal with the S between Z and S, Wazir, Osir, Osar, you can see these are nothing more than dialectal differences in the way that you pronounce the words. So here we see assert means strength and power, riches. Osiru, mighty in power, strong being. In order to be official or ruler, you got to be strong. You can't be weak and be no ruler. You see what I'm saying? So this assert has many different meanings in it. Name of a god, assert a give. It goes into many different definitions, dealing with assert. Osir here simply means one of the late forms of the name Osiris up here on the top. And I'm showing our people the crook and the flail which looks like a cane, and the flail looks exactly like it sounds. These represented power and authority. These symbols, they represented the ruler. You can even go to the form of a sir being strong on our oppressor if one is too strong in their rulership. You see what I'm saying? And we have Wasir again dealing with Asar. Now, I didn't put it up here, but there's an English word that actually relates to this same word, Usir. And go back to the first word, Usert, strength, power, might, strong, a strong thing, riches. So now we have showed you, again, the Kemetic origin. We showed you the Arabic. It shouldn't shock you because we know the Arabs are descendants of the Kemetic bloodline. We know that Hagar, according to the Piscean records of Bible, gave birth to her son Ishmael, and that was a mixture between a Cushite, Abraham, a Cushite, and a Chemite. So that lets you know this gave birth to the origin of what we call the Arabs, according to the history that we have, according to our teachings. This word assert or seer, if we were looking for a word in the English language that be a cognitive or relation to assert, it's what it is. You ever heard somebody say, exert your authority? When one exerts themselves, when you exert your authority, you see, assert your authority. Let's see the word assert. Right? Let's look at this here. To be assertive. In other words, it really means to be active. But we want to go to the word, the root, assert. You know what I mean? And it actually says here in one aspect, it says to cause others to recognize one's authority or right by confident or forceful behavior. So you see how this word assert actually connects back to the Kemetic word usert? See, but you would notice if you don't know etymology. It's important that we notice. Like I said, I'm going to go to the word. Look at this. Asirir, to affirm. Sirir, to join, to claim. You see, this is how you assert yourself. It also says to declare someone free or a slave by laying hands upon them. In other words, you got power to free a slave. From this aspect, that's real God power, huh? This thing, this something else. To protect, to maintain. Well, you can't protect and maintain nothing if you weak. You know what I mean? So I'm just giving you some examples here. Now, let me go back because I don't want to burn up everything. I want to get to this word love Kemetically in a minute. Here's another Kemetic word, dealing with Mecca. Now, we know both in the Quran and the biblical text when it talk about Ishmael, and it was saying that he was there with his mother, and he was so agitated that he was digging his foot around in the earth, so to speak. And this is how they say the well of Zemzem was basically dug by him digging his foot, so to speak. How a child may be in agitation, so to speak. This was after Sarah, basically wanted them to leave, and they went out in the desert, and the angel ended up coming to their aid and assistance. It says that the place was known as Baka. Sometimes they spell it Bacca, and sometimes they spell it Becca. But how many of our people know that B is interchangeable with P? B is interchangeable with the letter V. But B is also interchangeable with the letter M. So Makkah is the result when you change the B into the M. And this is the Mecca, where the well of Zemzem was. Now, this word baka, if you're looking at my screen right now, and go back to Kemet dealing with it, it says a common name for settlement, inhabited district, place, or region. And in the Coptic is Baki, Bakate, Baka. Was not Mecca a place of settlement for Ishmael and his mother, Hagar? Now, when we go into this, there's another word that's actually Mecca, spelled in Kemet too, which is Mekha. And it means to turn to run towards. And if anybody know about what is called the Qibla in Mecca, you know, it has to do with Qibla means to turn yourself toward a direction. You see, turn your place and turn your face toward the place, you know, of basically your beloved. And this is where a lot of that facing the east concept come from. You know, we even went into the murder Kaaba, as Ka and Ba actually represent the spirit and soul of man. So the true place to turn toward is really within the self. You see, so that's another connection dealing with Mecca, tracing it up, and it goes into the Hebrew, Arabic, and the Kemetic language. Same thing with the word Ojet. The word Ochet or Ojet, you know, which actually deals with protection. You know, also the all-seeing eye, the eye, Heru, eye, Ra. But Kemetically, this Ojet, the U is interchangeable with a T is interchangeable with the D in between that. Instead of Ochet, Utchat, you have Ojet, and then you have Wadjet, Wajet. So the W was changed again. A was inserted in between, but it's still Wajet, pronounced the same way, and the equivalent in Arabic becomes Waj. Waj means the inner being. And this is Surah 2, Ayat 115. Our chairman often quote this. And the other one is actually Ayat 118. Pardon self, 112. And what this means is Waj is said to be translated as the presence. So whithersoever you turn, there's the presence of Allah. Now, a lot of people like to talk about the eye of providence, the all-seeing eye of providence, which is a symbol of the presence of the great God. You know, in this particular surah, it says to Allah belong the east and the west. So whithersoever you turn, there's the presence of Allah. And so the presence, this was actually dealing with the commentary on it, letting you know this is the face. And the other ayat, you know, in 112, it says, whosoever submits his whole self. And the same word used is waj. And it goes into the commentary and it will tell you that self means the inner being. You know, this saying the face and inner being. We say when we look into the face of man, we look into the face of Allah. Now we understand the true meaning. But this is, again, a connection of the word waj and ojet between Kemet and the Arabic language. We come over here and look at, you know, Achet, and it deals with the all-seeing eye, the solar eye, the eye of the sky, God, the eye of Horus and Ra, Heru, or Heru. You know, it's right here. So we can see a derivative in etymology right there. You know, and it's the same thing now that we're dealing with love. When you look at this word Mary in ancient Kemet, there's a connection here, because even the name Mary, the mother of Yehoshua, which means to be beloved, even Yehoshua's name, Esesu, actually goes back to Kemet. So both Yehoshua and his mother had Kemetic name, but his mother name means beloved, and that name Mary or Mir goes all the way back to Kemet, etymologically. You see? And that's why they say the language family here is Afro-Asiatic, Semitic, Central Semitic. So all of this is just to show you the word love represented the man and the land and everything else. And now I want to go right here to show you some of these things dealing with the word love. I'm not even trying to deal with the aspect of just emphasizing so much on dealing with being, you know, the more aspect of it, even though we know that's connected too, because there are many different connections. But I just want to show you what I mean when I say, that there are connections in regards to dealing with the word more or miru, and the love aspect. When one is full of love, there are unlimited things that can be demonstrated when one is full of love. So there's a grand connection between love and being a more. So we just have to do our research, family, and this is very important. In fact, here it is right here. Here's a root that goes into dealing with the word more as it relates to love. Right here, miru mean those who love, lovers of friends. Merit, love, desire, to wish something long or wish for. Our Grand Secretary of the State would talk about things being long and wished for, but our people wishing for the manifest. But here's a wish of love. Merut, love, desire, wish. Again, merut, it means love. Merut, beloved woman. Notice at the root of each one of these love words, even though they may have a ut at the end, mir is the root of the word being demonstrated here. So mir, wishing that. They even have sweetheart, and everything. All these words here dealing with love. Here's Mary, which would be the same connection to the brother Yehoshua's mother. Lover, loved one, something love, beloved one. Miriu, miriti, beloved, mirit, mirni. So when we deal with, the connection of this word mir at the root, I mean, we can go on and on. It's right here. Beloved, one, title of several gods. Mary, a title of several gods. And a lot of this stuff is dealing with love, But these titles are connected to each other. Even when we deal with the different words. It's the same for, the word mir as it relates to certain rulers. Chief or governors of the eastern districts. Mir Sabah, Mir Sanu, Mir Shint, Mir Himnesu, the inspector of royal slaves. Mir, notice mir is all over the place at the root. Mir means to bind together. Well, don't love bring people together? Ain't that what we talking about? The golden cord of love. If one is full of love, what can you do with your golden cord of love? You can unite some people, can't you? So not only do these words mere deal with love and they deal with positions of authority, but this mir again has to do with also places. Mir, meru. So what if the land is full of love, being connected with mir? What if the man is full of love? Then what happens here? What if your leadership or your officials in your government are full of love? Because that, a mir is an official as well. So either you're dealing with the man, the land, or the divine plan as it relates to love. And I didn't have the intention to go into this particular area and go this far, but I get out the way and I let the great God Allah and the ancestors move me. There's even a measure dealing with mir that has to deal with mooring ships. You moor the ship so that the ship don't sail off, and you moor it by means of a cord. And this is the same way that we have to moor ourselves, as we link with each other with the golden cord of love, and therefore we won't drift off into hatred. If we are moored, to a foundation, so to speak, that deals with truth, then we won't find ourselves drifting off into a realm of falsehood. The things that are opposite to the principles we represent. If we moor ourselves with that golden cord of love, if we are full of love, then we won't allow ourselves to drift from a state of peace into a state of unrest, from a state of being free into a state of being in a state of bondage, a state of being injustice. We won't allow ourselves to drift in realms of being unjust or demonstrating injustice. You see, and this is just a little symbolism and some real science. This is adept science right here. So we are asked the question, where's the nearest place that we can meet the great God Allah? In the heart. And I was trying to give one's, background on this because they was trying to make what we demonstrate Masonic so bad. And I was trying to give ones the history to understand that even in the Kushite dynasty, the Indus Kushite dynasty, we have what we call the teachings as they relate to mudras. And I actually had in mind a long time to really do a presentation on this right here, on the mudras, to show our people what these things represent and how Masons took them to try to mean other things. But in all actuality, these hand signals and symbols that they have really came from our ancestors, and they can be found, some of them, in ancient Kemet, the mudras, you see. And so once we understand, let me see if I can find them here. I think we have them here. They'll open up. I'll show you what I'm talking about briefly, and we finna open up the floor, family. The hand is symbolic to the mind. So mudras are basically, different measures that are being demonstrated, and you can see, for example, these different gestures which have been taken Masonically. This is one of the things Masons use to scratch and dig. You'll see our Moorish Rite brothers demonstrating with this symbol of Heru, for example. You'll see Prophet Noble Drew Ali demonstrating with this particular posture, a gesture with his hands raised. We'll see our demonstrating Ka. Let me go and reshare this too, because it may not be shared. Let me see. Okay, yeah, hold up. There you go. Let me see here. Every time I switch off, it do that. But here we go. Let me make sure y'all see this real quick, like I said. So, yeah, this is one of the means. I'm going to tell you what this means right here. When you deal with this here, like I said, this is a symbol of Mason that had to do with a symbol of represent silence, to a certain degree when they touch the lip, and sometimes it can also represent, a symbol of one recognizing that they seen one speak the truth. That's one of the little symbolic things. This is what I was saying to reference to dealing with our Moorish Rite brothers. That's one of their symbols, but that come from Kemet. But this is the prophet right here. Prophet Noble Drew Ali demonstrating, this. We seen him demonstrate that measure. We seen the chairman demonstrate, holding his hands up. That's the Ka, holy breath symbol. Shoot, divine protection. That's still the same mudra as the first one I had. I'm still putting them together. This is a form of one spearing, what we would call the serpent or a pepe, the crocodile. This is Heru would be standing in a boat holding a sphere. So that's a symbol right there. You see, we see this symbol right here that was adopted, into Islam. They got it in Kemet and Sumeria, but that's where one is crossing the hand over right over left in their prayer posture of Qiyam. You see, here it is again here. We can go through all these different measures, like I say, and see, these different drawings of mudras and gestures being brought forth. There are a lot more in the language of expression that deal with opening up the chakra points, and releasing the pathway from blockages. That's what these things represent to our ancestors. But you see Masons demonstrating these same mudras. I'm going to give a breakdown on this one day. Like I said, it's incomplete, me putting it together, but it's relevant. But this is why we say the hand is symbolic to the mind. You understand? There's a lot of things that deal with, like I say, being able to release good energy and allow pathway flows. So that's why meditation is used. But I'm showing you where they get this from. So they didn't inherit this stuff of their own, but they try to tell you they use these signs so they can be recognized in the dark as well as in the light when they travel throughout the land. But when we demonstrate these signs and symbols, they have to do more with direction. Like when the prophet put his hand over the heart, That's going back to your questionnaire. Where's the nearest place we can meet him? He letting you know, in the heart, the great God Allah. Comedically, when we go back to what's being spoken of here, we talk about Hiram Abiff, or Heru Ami Abu, which is where they really get it from, the African God man. The real meaning of slaying the master builder, since we want to talk about the temple of perfected man and Hiram Abiff and building the temple, really represent basically extracting the love from the hearts of our people. So they come into hatred toward each other. They don't love each other, don't know how to love each other. So if the dweller of hearts is known as Heru Ami Abu, and they took it and said, well, this is Hiram Abiff, they don't teach this like I'm saying, but I'm telling you the real comedic meaning behind it. When we say the nearest place we can meet the great God Allah, and Allah is love, that's in the heart. So if we lack love, if we are not filled with love and it has been taken from us, then the master builder, code name Hiram Abiff, within us has been slayed. How? By hatred. How? By slander. How? By lewdness. How? By murder. How? By everything that harms. So I'm going to stop right there, Morris Ken. And I'm going to warm up the flow. They done got me crunk up over here. You understand? That's why Prophet Noble Drew Ali said we need to learn to love instead of hate. And that's a hard lesson for our people. They rather hate you for the truth than come together and be free. So at this time, what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually call in on my phone, because I already know the people ain't going to really be able to hear, from that aspect. But we can allow people to star 6, once we do this. Just give me a second here. So when I call in, I'm going to shut this phone down, because I'm on the computer on that, so y'all can hear me with clarity. So this is going to be so that y'all can actually hear each other, and then the Moors will be able to communicate with each other. So we're going to open up the floor in a second. Just give me a second here, Morris Ken, and we're going to open it up for our family so they can demonstrate. I'm just
welcome, calling. And thank you for choosing free. Meeting password. Muted. The recording has started.
Okay, there we go, Morris Ken. So we got y'all on here now. So now, any more that would like to speak on this particular drawing, you can star 6 your phone, and all is well.
Islam,
Sister Curtis Bay.
Islam. I'm not giving them a chance to let some crickets in there. I'm jumping right in here. This is a powerful class tonight. Islam. First, let me rise and give praises to our great God Allah. Give honors to our holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali. I give honors to Act One. I give honors to all my government officials.
I can't hear you.
I give honors to you, National Assistant Grand Sheik. Dr. Edwards Bay is saying he can't hear, so I guess he must be.
Let me make sure. Oh, give me 1 second here. I might.
Unmuted.
Okay, that's right. I got it unmuted now. There we go.
Okay.
Sorry about that, Sister Denver.
That's okay. Islam, can you hear us now? But anyway, we give honors to you, National Assistant Grand Chief, for this powerful class tonight. Wow. You coming from ayat 6 is, if one is full of love, he cannot kill, he cannot falsely testify, he cannot covet, he can do naught but honor Allah and man. And I tell you, I thoroughly enjoyed listening to you as you bring forth. And I just want to encourage you to, I love it how you stand firm on what you talk about. And I tried to pull up that video of what you was talking about that you had with those Moors, but it was saying that it no longer was up there. So, but anyway, nevertheless, the two things I want to touch bases on. I will go back to that when you was talking about the sister, how she wanted to be the Native American. But the first you started talking about when you were full of love, and when you even was getting everything together. My mind was just going, because that's one of my favorite chapters. And when Yehoshua talks about full of love, and I'm still unfolding in what that means. It's just like when the chairman tell us who made you. I'm still unfolding into knowing exactly how deep that go. And when your host will say, if it when one is full of love, I'm still unfolding in that and knowing what all of that mean. I think I'm just still stretching the surface of it, but that's such a powerful statement when he talks about if you are full of love. And I thought about when we fail. Our chapter 1 talks about how we fail in our thought pattern. And I thought about when you are full of love, that's coming from when you fall in love. As we always say, when you fall in love, that's coming from your lower self. And when we fail in our thought pattern. So when we fall in love, we are dealing with a love in our fallen state. And that is not the divine love that we came from. And that is why, too, I thought about that's why our prophet told us that we needed to learn to love, because he knew we had been hit over the head. He knew we didn't know what real love was all about. He knew it had been taken away from us and we had forgotten who we was. And so that's why he told us we need to learn to love instead of hate. And he said that because he knew he knew what real love was. He was the greatest example of that real love, because he came and gave us everything. And he even told us, he said, I forgive you for everything you did before you know me. He said, I forgive you of that. Oh, Dr. Shaheed, like you said, yeah, this is a powerful class. You got me crunk up. Last but not least, when you talked about the goddess, uh, um, it just hurts my heart to see how our people, how they have such a hatred for us. And you talked about the goddess who wanting to be native. She was a Moorish American, but she went to be native Indian, or however they want to call themselves. And I can remember when I come into government, uh, uh, it was a bunch of us. And most of the people that came in the government with me, they are no longer here. And one of them was, I saw a young goddess. I don't know if that was who you talking about, but it was a goddess. She was of the native, called herself Indian, and I couldn't understand why she wanted to give away her free national name and go back to being an Indian. And I was thinking, didn't they didn't the Europeans, we didn't call ourselves Indians? Ain't that a name that they started calling us? Why would you want to go from your pure and holy name to a name that somebody else started calling you? I tell you, God, man, you keep stand firm, and I just pray that Allah give me the strength, because now we see what we are up against. When they coming at you, you are helping us to be strong and know what to say and know how to handle ourselves and keep the prophet out front. So gratitude, God, man, for letting me share. I tell you, I could go on and on. This is a powerful class, but I know our other boys can are anxious to get in here. Gratitude for letting me share. Peace and love.
Islam and gratitude. I'm gonna actually let you hear a little clip of this so you can see what we was dealing with, because we know it's only a handful of Moors that's gonna get a measure anyway. So I'm gonna let you hear this real quick so that you can get a drawing of the conversation. And it's sad that our people are so misled, that they can be took off the count at any means. So here we go. Let me unmute this here real quick because I had it muted. And there we go.
Far as that, a lot of the Mexican influence that we found that Crawley was studying is in the Circle Seven. and as far as the symbol that we're going to go into tonight, that you didn't even know that it's from Mexico. You haven't heard of the story. Why is it that there's so much taught about India, comet, but when these stories are coming from Mexico, when these symbols are coming from Mexico, the Moors aren't taught that? Why is that kept a secret?
Again, sister, I'm gonna give it to you this way because I see you asking me the same question in a different way, and I'm gonna
Well,
give
because
you.
you're kind of not, you're going around my actual question of why this symbol. Would you like me to pull up the symbol and teach you as far as the story of where it comes from, how it's from Mexico?
Okay, let me ask you a question, sister. Am I supposed to be debating you right now? Or am I here as a guest?
You're definitely here as a guest. That's why
Okay,
I'm asking you the question of
okay,
these
okay,
Mexico symbols. I'm guessing
okay.
that you
So,
didn't even know
okay, so
that they're
so
Mexican
let me.
symbols.
I know a lot more than you think I know. You know what I'm saying to you when we spoke on this the other night. What I gave you, sister, I told you that the symbolism that we demonstrate come out of the book of Revelations. You know, so it's like this. We don't interpret anything into the teaching other than what Noble Drew Ali taught. We don't go and assume certain things. Now we say that he left his footprints clearly cut that way we would know he went that way. But we know what he has taught according to the teaching. Like he said, I'm Yehoshua come again. You know, in other words, he was the Jesus that came to us. That's what he said, right? But we know what he meant by that. He was speaking of the spirit of who we call Yehoshua Jesus. And it's the same thing when we go into this measure, what you're speaking of on this questionnaire. I'm gonna show it to you real quick because you referring to it over and over.
Yeah, with do you
This
know who Popo
questionnaire right here. You see this
Ketel is?
questionnaire right here?
Yes,
This
exactly.
questionnaire with him stepping out of here, he give you the meaning of what he meant here. It says cares of the world behind him, right? The cares
Yep,
of the
and the
world.
woman is humanity. Who
What
is that woman in the Bible of
can I
Revelations
finish
that
Sister
you said?
there? I let you talk if you want to talk.
No, I'm asking because you said it's from Revelations. The woman that he's holding, where in
Listen to what I'm
Revelations
saying,
is the
sister.
woman?
Listen to what I'm saying. When he's stepping out of the water onto the land, that is the act of the seventh angel. He has the woman in his arm because that is his way of showing that he came to uplift fallen humanity. That was his measure of bringing that forth. But what I'm saying is him stepping out of the water on the land. We know this because this is Moore's teaching. It refers to him as being the seventh angel. And go and look, it said, I beheld one angel who came forth and stepped 1 foot on the land and had 1 foot in the water. The land represents the rock of salvation. So he stepped out of the cares of the world. You can see it wrote right there behind it. See, it says cares of the world. He's stepping out of the cares of the world upon the rock of salvation with a woman in his arms. He's uplifting fallen humanity because no nation can rise higher than this woman. I'm giving you our symbolism of that. You know, now as far as somebody else trying to conflate it and say this is what it means, that ain't what Noble Drew Ali taught. That's all I'm telling you. And it ain't even in opposition. I'm just telling you what Noble Drew Ali taught, and what we teach is more than I'm telling you where the symbolism come from with us. So a lot
Right, and
of
I
these things,
understand what you're saying. I'm just a little confused because the symbol comes from Mexico,
I
but
want
you're
to ask
not
you a question.
addressing that.
I
Why
want to ask you a
would
question.
the occultist people not talk about the actual story that symbol comes from?
I want to ask you a question. When Noble Drew Ali put his hand over his heart, where did he get that symbol from? When he do this?
That was as far as where we hear from Kemet, but I don't know if that's the earliest of that symbol. But as
It,
far as I know, it's
it is the
earliest is in
earliest of
Kemet.
it. It is the earliest of it. It come from Kemet. Just like his dress and his clothing. You got to realize.
But you're bringing up another symbol, and I'm talking about this particular one that's
I
from
brought,
Mexico.
I
Why
brought
do
that
you
up, sister.
feel okay? If I understand
I
that you
brought
don't
that up
know it's
as
from
an
Mexico,
example. I brought that up as an example, sister. I'm not even saying in regards to the symbol that you brought, you know, that it has no relevance. But what I'm trying to show you is the universal scope of what Prophet Noble Drew Ali brought. He didn't draw just from Kemet. He drew from India. He draw from a whole bunch of areas. Even in the term of Mex, sister, it was Noble Drew Ali who gave us the proper name of Mexico, which is a Mexim. It comes from
Can I
Old Mexico.
clarify my question right real quick before it goes to Nisha? Because
So you
I'm
say
just
he wasn't teaching
confused
about
of the
you said,
fact that the
okay,
symbols
I'm gonna
that
let you
come from
speak to it.
Kemet or Egypt are said to come from Kemet in Egypt. They're taught to the Moorish science temple that they come from Kemet in Egypt. The symbols that are from India, and I've been in the Moorish science temple. So a lot of people say, hey, this symbol is from India. It's this and that and the other, and they go through it. I'm confused on the fact that this symbol is an ancient symbol from Mexico, but none of you guys know that or have been taught that by Noble Drew Ali. Why is that?
What?
Okay, I'm gonna stop it right there. So basically, you can see the sisters in an uproar about this symbol that she's calling ancient, and the artwork wasn't created in this so-called symbol until 1948,
Right.
after what the prophet brought. You see, the story exists in the Aztec legend, but the artwork was created 20 years after the prophet had already brought his questionnaire.
That's right.
You understand?
Yes,
And she
Islam.
know that. You see, and furthermore, even the symbolism there is no water. Go
That's
read the
right.
story about the Grandessa Azteca that she talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And it's gonna tell you it was a volcano eruption.
Right.
Totally different alphabet. I mean, not alphabet, but element.
That's right.
Fire, not water. You see? Now, if
Yes,
we want to talk about the prophet saying after the fire I be the water, that wouldn't even fit there because that image came after the prophet.
that's right.
So she trying to put the fire. let me stop right there.
Islam. Credit
But
to
y'all get it. Y'all get it. I mean, it's not rocket science, it's more science. And unfortunately, the sister found herself in an affair with a Native American, and so now she feel like she got to go against the prophet. That's what happened when you fall in love, Morris Ken, instead of rising in love, because that's really what's going on. So now the brother that used to stand toe to toe, shoulder to shoulder, going at these individuals, now you want to come in opposition. I ain't did nothing to you. And then she throwed it up. The only reason he's what she called it triggered, I wasn't triggered now time. I didn't get emotional or nothing. I was the same way you see my energy. It was the same way the whole thing. But she say he triggered because I ain't no more. I didn't even know you had switched up. So Islam, the floor is open.
Islamism, God, man, how you be?
I'm just as Morris as ever. Praise be to Allah. How about yourself, Sister Cammy?
Just as Moorish as ever. You're imitating the prophet in the process of going around your elbow to get to your up. You done lost a lot of information. You want me to focus on love instead of hate?
That's right. You are love instead of hate.
Oh dear. Goddess indeed. The goddess that spoke before me were not guides. You see that I sound like a woman, God woman I am, and a government woman. I rise, honor, praise the great God, honor, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, officials, citizens, Moors here, there, and everywhere, especially my Moors kin. I noticed on Saturday that showing off the witch, arguing and confusion. Don't play that in my father's house. I get Saeed to take you all through there. Love instead of hate. Prophets need to teach us how to love. Somebody keep that Roman yoke on you, your ancestors, your kinfolk. For 500 or more years, you've been carrying that load for a long time. Go on and put it down, be a free person. Free people think differently than slaves. The infinite mind thinks differently than the finite mind. And these ethers with the infinite mind and that love and that falling in love. When you fall in a downward direction. Upwards, now that's love. Send it up to Allah, whatever it is. And when you love, I mentioned the guy man, didn't know he was a guy that I've been working with this summer on ministry. What I cannot fully understand is that you living your life a certain way. You spend 20-something years in the dismal crypts in the process of living your life that way. And you have a way to be free. Because I am a God, woman, and a minister. And he's been attending a few of these conference calls and the narcotics, that poison. He can't let it go. Last time he was messing around with that poison, he ended up in the disco crypt 20-some years. And you want to go back to that. I don't understand. These are supreme laws and prophecy. I know I'm close to my 7 minutes. It's 9 o'clock on the nose, official time. All this confusion up in here. Got some confusion in your mind. Dial somebody direct instead of taking over Saeed's for. Gratitude.
Islam, sister. Yeah, we definitely ain't having that noise up in here. We give honors to you, Sister Cammy. So for that grand drawing. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna actually give a few minutes of extension so we can hear from our Moorish kin as well. All is well. So let us call forth, a few more Moors that would like to demonstrate their measure. Islam. Star 6 your phone, Moors, if you have anything you would like to say.
Islam.
Islam, Brother Marvin Edwards Bay.
Gratitude.
Gratitude.
Thank you for following me. Yeah, this is Dr. Marvin Edwards Bay, Consul General of Texas Territory. Rising, giving all praise to the great God of Allah, highest honor to his prophet, and honor to the North American government. Honor to this class, Morris prospective class, as well as I give honor to you, Angel, for hosting and instructing a most powerful class. So I give honor to all those that aided in bringing forth this class and everything that is Moorish. And that's everything that the prophet brought to save us as a nation of people. Yeah, this is a powerful class, and I was listening to you and listening to the young lady you had giving her point of view, and like when you was giving your demonstration, you broke it down. You had to break it down because you're on a higher level, so they couldn't get to that. But like when we study our prophet's teachings, he brought us the answers to everything. We are the questions and the answers. But for those that can't, and you qualified for that because you're a lot more knowledgeable as myself. Even though I'm physically manifest older, that wisdom is our true age, and you're far advanced in that, and we honor you for that. And I'm just going to give you honors for all that you do. Standing in the fence of the prophet and the truth, and we just appreciate you. Keep being strong, and because you make us strong. Because when you see, that's the way it goes. One more, teaching them more how to build more. Gratitude, God, man. Islam and peace.
Islam and peace, Moorish King. We give honors to you. Yeah, they coming by the droves now. It ain't just one individual. They clicking up, but they still can't stand in the face of the truth. I'm gonna send the video out so that our people can see what happened. And I was literally surrounded by Eastern Stars and Masons, basically. You know, when it all smoke cleared, you know, so I understand why it went the way it did. So I just left the panel, you know, at a particular time. And like I say, I was invited as a guest to speak. But if you invited as a guest, and like I kept telling them, you don't treat your guests any type of way, you know. And so I'd never go back to that platform again, just like I did with certain other individuals, you know. And she related to a certain individual that I used to go on that individual platform. You know, y'all know who I'm talking about, you know. And I ain't talking about Sarnetta platform. I'm talking about another platform. But she first cousins or whatever with that individual. So I don't know if that got a lot to do with her energy that she was bringing or whatever. Because that particular one feels some type of way because I won't come back to his platform. You know, but so now they clicking up the Aboriginals, Masons, and Eastern Stars, and now they got an agenda, but they can't overthrow this truth. They want to attack the movement by trying to make the prophet be a Mason, and then had the audacity to quote the same individuals that just wrote some literature that I actually exposed a few moons ago. Fatih Abdat, Patrick Dorman, you know, who wrote The Princes and the Prophet, you know, that garbage that he wrote. And then you got the other individual, Patrick Baldwin, in conjunction with Sharif Bey. I call him out by name. I don't hide nothing. You know what I mean? Who is a Mason. And he got on there bragging and boasting. I seen a video the other night just so he can have his name mentioned in them European literature. But you clicked up with them to help them write a book pretty much speaking against our prophet, discredited. That's what Western Freemasonry give you, because they feel like Masonry is more superior to what the prophet brought. And so a lot of people was upset last night. You'll see in the video, but I give honors to them brothers. Some of them I just met the day before, and them brothers stood on the front line in my defense. Even though I had left, I was still watching. And them brothers stood up in the paint, and they wouldn't let nobody slander, you know, my character. I want to give honors to our brother Cosmon, you know, one of the brothers that deal with the OSPI measure, because I had just talked to that brother the day before. And you know, the Mason guy was trying to call me a liar, and it really upset a lot of people, you know, because he was like, he's a liar. And they're like, how you gonna call this man a liar? You gonna ask me about Tariq Ibn Zaid, you know, and try to call him by name, and I tell you that General Tariq, he ran the air, and he come back, oh no, that's not who that is. You lying, then come right behind it and say the same thing I said, and people caught that. So it was a real bad agenda going on in that thing, man. But I was like, man, it's terrible. And all I did is try to unite them. But Islam, where are other Moorish kin that want to come up in here and give their portion? Islam, grand man.
Islam. Yes, this is Divine Minister Michael Morpay in the North Carolina territory, and once again arise and give praise to the great God, and honest to our prophet, over to our leader, and honest to our citizens, our officials, our government, honest to you, God, man. Oh man, for this transparent, clear to see class that you know you handle very well. You always do. You know, because, I mean, you know, it's just evident that, you know, if you're not conscious of your nationality, how you going to take an oath anyway into something and you don't even know yourself? You know, and you always demonstrate that, you know, all lives die when the truth is told, you know, and we know that it was not until the coming of our Holy Prophet that Islam was even allowed to be taught. You know, and he was the one that came with the purified heart and mind with love and self-determination with one objective, and that was to free the hearts and minds of these people from the iron hand oppression and mental slavery. And we know that, you know, he was the perfect demonstration, as you are following in his footsteps, because we know that love is unconditional. And when you learn to love instead of hate, knowing that you are connected, you know, to every living thing, and recognize it is the great God within you, emanating from the center to the outer bounds of life. We know that we have the truth. We know that the prophet came to give us the truth. Now, what they need to do is recognize the truth. But like I say, it's hard to recognize the truth when you're not being the truth yourself. And when you don't have no connection to your government, to your one free national name, when you don't have a clue of your own vine and fig tree, right? Things are going to seem like they're being correct. But, you know, that's the NBC attitude. The NBC attitude, you know, that's that demarcated thought pattern. You know, they don't want you or us or anybody to get with what the prophet brought, because they can't handle the truth. Okay, so now we know for a fact that our people didn't know a thing about who they are. They don't even know a thing about what love is. You know, and it was prophet until coming to Prophet Noble Drew Ali demonstrated what true love is really about. So, you know, we have to stand firm, and we have to give our people this truth, because, you know, all lives down when the truth is told, that truth is not going nowhere. You know, and you can't punch no holes in the truth. Okay, and I'm here to bear witness to it, because I've been around for quite some time, and I know that what the prophet brought is the truth. And I know being a citizen of the multi-American government gives me freedom and opens up the door for true living, true life, true identity. You know, a man's nationality is a true identity. You don't have one, you don't understand, you don't have a nationality. So quite naturally, you're going to go for the okie doke. You see? So that's one thing that has to be brought out. And like the prophet said, one must purify his heart and mind with love. You know what that means? That means love for yourself, love for your God, love for your nation. You understand? Because we are a pure and clean nation of people. We don't have time to be wasting time with people that want to be Indians. Okay? Because we know that we are not from India. Islam, gratitude for the class, God, man. Peace and love.
Islam, and gratitude for the class, peace and love, family. And we want to, you know, just say praise be to Allah, and trying to shed out some of these tabs over here. Islam. All right, gratitude, grand man. Who that is, Brother Justice?
Islam.
Oh, wait a minute. We got Sister Anna Jean first. Islam, brother.
Praise Allah. This is Divine Minister Energies Musabe. I rise and give all praises to our Father God Allah, and honor to his prophet Noble Drew Ali, our prophet Noble Drew Ali, El Haj Sharif Abdul Ali. In honor to our Moorish American government, all the official citizens in Kenya. In honor to you, Grand Man, on a great, great subject that you brought on the manifest tonight. On chapter 6, if one is full of love, he cannot kill, he cannot falsely testify, he cannot covet, he can do naught but honor Allah and man. And you deserve all the honor. Praise Allah. Allah is leading on, and gratitude, God, man, for bringing us all the truth that our prophet have written in our Holy Quran, circa 7. Praise Allah for you. And gratitude for allowing me to bring the measure. Peace and love.
And gratitude for your measure, Sister Annie Jean Swenson Bay. We give honors to you, Goddess and Queen, for all that you do. Islam. All right, Brother Justice, what have you to say?
Just praise Allah, honor to our holy prophet Noble Drawley, and I I'll just say honor to the entire Act One. Honor to you, National Assistant Grand Chief Dr. Shaheed, for the great class tonight. And honor to all of those who assist you on the class. Praise Allah, honor to the holy prophet Noble Drawley. We know that all our officials who love the prophet and believe in the prophet and trust the prophet and always have the prophet out front, knowing that Allah, the great God of the universe, made them to set the prophet on earth for salvation, like yourself, perfect like yourself, And we know that when you speak the truth. And in this government, I learned to love our brothers and sisters, each and every one of them, just like I took time to learn to love you. And this is the way I am. This is the way I've always operated in the Moorish American government. When I have questions, but at the same time, I'm learning to love. And that's what I do, and that's what I do each and every day, regardless of what people may think or may feel about me. Love is the key to everything. Because when you talk about love, you're talking about Allah, the great God of the universe, the one that made you. And when you learning these laws and lessons, you really truly learn to love your brothers and sisters. Like Act 3 said, love, true peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed, and practiced by all citizens of Moorish America. We're talking about the entire whole land mass where the Moorish American government sits at. And no citizens to put in danger, accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion, and all that may harm his brother or sister, because Allah is love. When you're speaking the truth, you shouldn't be so fast-lifted by anything. You should pay attention and listen and get some of your head. Listen and thinking. When you're thinking, you're listening. When you're listening, you're thinking. That way that you can get a clear understanding of what's being said. And see, this is what you have demonstrated for years now. And I mean years, because 7 days in a year, And when you're there, you gotta let that melanin live. You gotta let it simmer in there. You gotta be able to read between the lines. And see, when you read between the lines, what you're being told by the instructors, especially by your chief, assistant grand chief, and chairman in the Moorish American government, the most powerful government in the world, you just gotta listen to it. When you listen to it, you go study, and then you listen, then you read between them lines, you pay close attention to it, because you're going to find yourself kind of stirring up in you a little bit, and then you're going to be able to balance it out, because you're going to be able to see. You got to be able to see deep from within. And this is something that you got to do deep from within yourself, move them dog walls. Because see, like I supposed to, all citizens must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all citizens must obey the laws of the government, because by being a Moorish American, you are part and parcel of the government and must live their life. Of course, you have ownership here, but see, you got to understand, you got to preserve these holy and divine laws above your neck, so that you'll be able to use them and be able to recall them, because you're going to kind of have a little setback. So when you go to having doubt, when officials trying to explain to you the truth from the one like yourself who knows so much. This is nothing about bragging about it. It's just that what you have done, what you was instructed to do from the Holy Prophet Noble Drawley. And it's time when people don't want to listen, sometimes you gotta let them navigate about their way, because it's like I've heard the example coming direct from you. You know, if people don't want to get the law lesson, don't want to hear, I see and don't want to be. And that is the way we, you know, we love our people. But sometimes when you drop it to them, you know, you just drop it and keep it moving. Because, you know, National Sister Grand Sheep, I'm not using any kind of tactic or criticism about what you listen to the tape. It's just that, you know, it's like this. Some of our people, you know, like the prophet said, you're not going to be able to save them all anyway. And some of our people, you just going to have to let them die. Because, you know, the Holy Prophet overdraw, he expects for us to obey all his laws and keep it moving. And that's just that's just my way of understanding a lot of the things, that when it comes to our Holy Prophet overdraw, no one, and I mean no one, comes before Allah and the prophet, our Holy Prophet overdraw. For Allah is, he sent the prophet for our earth of salvation, and he sent powerful men like the chairman, the sheep, and yourself, and other faithful officials. And I mean faithful, you got to be faithful. And this is a job that you have demonstrated in the Moorish American government for numerous of years and many years to come. And honor to you, sir, for your leadership. Honor to you for holding your ground. Honor to you for the respect, even against foolish fools who are disrespecting you and disrespect our prophet. Honor to you for holding that divine line, sir. And again, honor to you for the class tonight. And I say peace and love.
And Islam, and honors to you, brother, for being on the front line, standing in defense of your nation and your prophet. But Islam, Moors, you know, we want to give honors to all the Moors who came forth to exercise their five. You know, and at this particular time, we want to go on and move forward to our officials, you know, and hopefully our family was able to get something out of this right here. So when we go into the subject matter, it's a very powerful subject matter, you know, and it was most definitely in line and right on time with this chapter. Seemed like everything falls into place like that when we're dealing with divinity, you know. And remember, if one is full of love, he or she cannot kill mentally, physically, spiritually. You can't falsely testify. You can't covet. You can do nothing but honor Allah and man, the Moorish American national. You know, and that's where we coming from. When we look into the face of our family, we should see each other. So Islamism without the schism, and now we call forth our beloved Sister Alseta Moon El, Assistant Grand National Secretary of Moorish America. Are you there, sister? Well, Islam, we know the sisters about our Father God Allah's business. All is well. Let us call forth our National Grand Mufti, Dr. Kunchu Ma'ak Herube, the Royal Council. Are you there, Grand Man?
Islam.
Islamism without the schism.
Religion, gratitude, Grand Man. Call us forth. We rise, first and foremost, giving all thanksgiving, adoration, worship, and praise to our Father God Allah, great God of the universe, the most beneficent and the most wise. We give the highest honors that we can give to his prophet, our prophet, the last prophet, in these days and in these times. Prophet Noble Drew Ali, El-Haj Sheikh Sharif Abdul Ali, the savior of humanity. We give honors to his forerunner, Marcus Mosiah Garvey, and we give honors to his government, our government, the Moorish American government, the government in which we live. According to Act 6, we give honors to the officials of that government, our divine ministers, our swift angels, our mufti, our royal council, our secretaries. We give honors to our citizens, the Moorish Americans. We give honors to our flag, our divine constitution and bylaws, our Holy Quran, our Grand National Seal, our Grand National Emblem, our Book of Fire, the Exhuming of a Nation. We give honors to everything that is Moorish. We give a special high honors to you, National Sister Grand Sheep, Dr. Shadu and Mindy and Medu Chef Subail, for bringing forth this Grand Moorish perspective this evening. And we give honor to all of our Moorish kin who have spoken before us. To our Moorish kin that will speak after us, we give honors to you, angels. We continue to give the honors where they're due and honor all true and divine prophets. And we give honors to our ancestors.
as they have come before us, leading the way. And we are them today without doubt or contradiction, because no one has the power to change man. It's just in nature. And praise the Lord for that. And it's been interesting class, Malcolm. Definitely it is important to know that we should be loving instead of hating. That, there's no need to be out here violating Act 3, according to this I, falsely accusing and demonstrating vibration or low vibration. Now, I think it's very important for us understanding the Moorish perspective that, our prophet was right. He's a prophet. And you don't believe he's a prophet, you just check his prophecy. And we can see everything he said, the spirit of what he said, coming to pass. He said, when we deal with this aspect of caveat emptor, he said that there's going to be ones out here, Moors, he's going to take us on an incline, while these other ones who betrayed to be us are going to be on the road below us, with their schemes and their plots, thinking they're demonstrating the same thing we demonstrated. And we, the children of wisdom, are going to just laugh at what they got going on. And that's what we have to do when it comes to this situation, because I know who that one is, and she come out of a household that's demonstrating falsehood from the get-go. Her man demonstrating that he was a minister of this government, never was. We had to give a class to that one. Because these ones want to demonstrate UCC, this and that, and give them the understanding that demonstration don't apply to us, and even the concepts they try to use don't apply to us. And one then won't listen when we gave them a plain drawing, one that you can't, there ain't no refuting. And one wanted to get up and leave out of the demonstration because there's no, truth don't need no alibi. It don't need no support. And so when we see this type of one, when we see these ones coming, we got to remember that the lesson is, we don't cast our pearls in front of swine. And that's how I look at these ones. That's how I look at these ones who pretend to be the Moors on this incline, the vanguard. They got their own plans and schemes, as you said, that they're trying to put together. But we, the children of wisdom, got to see what they're doing and remember to stay on high. Remember that, it's no use of, there's no purpose in going for ones who have been cast out of the holy city and the sect they teaching. And the word accept is most important, that these ones are buying into the teachings of these ones who've been cast out. These ones are acquiescing and taking into themselves the teaching that ain't got nothing to do with the salvation of our people. If there's any, as the prophet says, quit trying to figure out your own way and just get behind me, your prophet. The ones don't want to get behind the prophet. They want to continue to try to figure out their own way. And so you got the rhetoric of one saying, well, you got apples, I got an orange, and he got a peach. Why in the prophet teaching that the orange got this tough skin and the peach got the soft skin, instead of understanding that they all fruit and they all here to sustain you. They want to argue about, well, what's the validity of this thing being having this tough skin? That ain't got nothing to do with what's in it, what's in there to nurture you. These things come from different areas, and the nature of the thing is there to protect the fruit of it. But you want to argue about the tasting. It's like the tenants say, you cast the shell out and you keep what's inside. You keep the nutrients that's inside. The ones they'll try to bring up arguments about any little bitty thing, any little that had really nothing to do with the true nature of salvation for our people. And that ain't got nothing to do with falling into one's thought pattern of, or European thought pattern of, let me get into their definition of this is indigenous or this is aboriginal. We are the original people. Why would we continue to argue with Mr. Johnny Johnny come lately, the European, about where we've been and who we are, when we know we've been on this planet the whole time, and they are the Johnny come lately, and we, arguing about, well, or one wants to have an argument about, well, why wasn't this brought forth? Because what has that got to do with the salvation of our people here and now? It has nothing to do with it. What we've been brought from Allah by His prophet is all that we need for our salvation. All the rest of that stuff is a rhetoric. All the rest of the stuff has, not that we honor our ancestors, but that demonstration has no pertinent relevance to us right now, having to learn ourselves, know our Father God, Allah, and ourselves, deal with the fivefold, that are keeping us locked in a thought pattern that is oppressing ourselves, keeping us on our own mental slavery. As the Prophet said, that's the only thing we got right now is dealing with mental slavery. Ones are slaves, a thought pattern that's going to continue to push this willy-lentism of division. Well, the man against the woman, the young against the old, healthy against the lame. If there's anywhere that division can be found, the one is going to pinpoint it, bring it to the forefront, and continue to show it, like these ones who bring the little rocks from the shallow streams of their mind and show it to others and try to get them to take notice. Like, look what? No, that's not what's important. That ain't what is important. And as long as one continues to try to bring forth the division, it's a useless conversation talking to these ones. Because really, they're really trying to waste your time. It's a tactic that these Europeans are. It's an art war. They want to use all the time. They want to try to exhaust the resources, exhaust your time and your energy, being a bunch of knots. When there's other things that one could do. That's right, John. Praise Allah. And so, we don't, let us remember that we are here to guide the nation, and this is why they're here, even trying to cause confusion or even trying to waste their time, because they understand that what we have to bring is what's going to crumble all this falsehood, all this not, whether it be Masonic, whether it be some COINTELPRO demonstration, whatever it is that's against the truth, that's what we fighting against. We fighting against those things that are trying to hinder the light of truth being shown to our people. Because love is what's strong enough to open the doors, the heart and the mind, so truth may find its way in. And so when one is demonstrating hate instead of love, they're trying to close the doors to one's mind and one's heart so that truth will make its way in. And they're going to fight tooth and nail to the very end, as the prophet said. These ones, it's going to be a birthday fight, but they're going to fight to the very end of their life, try to keep this society up. They're going to fight to the very end of their life, try to keep the paradigm in which they're living in intact, because one is fearful of the responsibility of self-preservation and self-reliance. One is fearful of having a world where they not catered to, or they live in according to the granted privileges of a slave master instead of the universal law that Allah set down for all living creatures, all free beings. That you are responsible, we are responsible for our own destination, for our own heaven, our own hell. So, let them ones live in hell. We all we can do is show them that there's heaven here, and if they want to continue to live in that hell, well, there you go. That's what you're gonna find yourself where you solve your problems best. And we solving our problems best here in our own nation. We're solving our problems here best with our prophet and the divine teaching, holy and divine instruction. Ain't no holy and divine instructions coming out of this Aztec demonstration. Hey, you know what I mean? Ain't no holy and divine instructions coming out of Masonic demonstration. Them are things that got to do with somebody's earthly salvation. And as long as one continue to think that they are a physical being and they're just having this experience and not understand that they're a spiritual being having a physical experience, then the perspective is always going to be off. One's always going to be looking at things from a wrong point of view, because one thinks that they are the material and don't understand that Allah and man are one, and that we demonstrate from the highest plane, the spirit is first, and everything else comes from that. So gratitude for this Morris perspective this evening, and gratitude to you, Morris America, for being here with us and giving us your time, attention, respect. We love you. Islam and peace.
And Islam and peace to you, Grand Mufti. We give honors to you for that drawing, and that's basically what it boiled down to, because I heard one making statements about trying to.
Sister Grant, she can't hear you.
Okay, yes, sir. Gratitude, pardon self, brother. Islamism is just giving honors to you for the measure, and also saying that we know that's the thing with our people, and that's why it didn't even move me. And actually, through the whole video, I was laughing as these ones was coming with these demonstrations, and one of the brother, I see you over there smiling. I mean, what else I would do? I know I am dealing with people that's below my pay grade, so to speak. And I don't say that in a, condescending way. I'm saying that I done been invited on that platform more than one time. Even my Grand Secretary of State and National Treasurer went on their platform.
Dr. Shaheed, pardon yourself. You're coming in low and choppy more.
Okay.
Yeah, that's better.
All right. Gratitude, Islam. Well, all right. So our Grand Secretary of the State and our National Treasurer, they went on the platform, and so the thing is that I ain't even been on there and I don't know how long, but I was invited to that platform to give a measure, and like I told them, I didn't expect no one to try to ambush, but you got to be ready at any situation. So I was ready when they came with it, and you'll see when, like I say, I put it out there. Mainly we want to see how to show the Moors how to stand in defense, but also show you how you have people really, like I was telling them, this thing ain't got nothing to do with what we was talking about in the subject matter. Y'all talking about apples and oranges. Y'all want to go up in here talking about trying to attack nobody. So I seen it was an agenda. And not only me, it was people in the comments was saying that. Like, man, it was like, it's obvious y'all don't want to hear nothing this brother's saying. You're disrespectful to your guests. And so, like I said, I'd never go back on that platform again. I expected it to be cordial, but it didn't go that way. And ones feel like, I'm telling you what it is. They feel like if they can overthrow me, for Moorish King, because I'm representing the Moors so hard out here, they feel like they can destroy the whole paradigm. But long as I got breath in my body, you know what I mean? I'm a problem for them. You see what I'm saying? And that's how it's going to always be. Because I ain't never going to be one where they can break me, and make me be something other than what that ain't going to never happen. And they know it. And so they feel if they all click up, because I can tell even the way that it was said in there, she boasted. I didn't even know she was the one created the subject title, but she boasted about the title she created. And, she laughed about it in the comments. So it was a set deck, so to speak, from the beginning. Even though my intent was just to try to enlighten our people, their intent was to try to attack, or like they say, find a chink in my armor. Ain't no chinks in my armor. My skin thick. I go forth in battle without armor on. My armor is the truth. So that being said, you'll never overthrow the prophet as long as I'm on the manifest. So that being said, at this time we go into our Grand National Secretary of State, Sister Shepsut Rakat Ma'at and Poo Tooth the Coming Bay. Islamism without the schism. Peace and love.
Islam, can you hear me more?
Oh, loud and clear with divine ears.
Gratitude. You still breaking up on the conference call side. But it's, first of all, let me rise giving praises to Allah, honor to our prophet, honor to this Grand Moorish Perspectives class this evening. We want to give honor to Act One, to all of our family online, to our host, our National Assistant Grand Sheikh of Moorish America, Dr. Shadow Menti Mohammed Shafsuel, for this powerful, very, very critical class this evening. Our subject matter coming from Ayah 6 is one is full of love. He cannot kill, he cannot falsely testify, he cannot covet, he can do naught but honor Allah and man. And so, as you stated, well, when we look at the flip side of that, when you're full of hate, you don't have any problem killing, tearing up something, being destructive. You don't have any problem falsely testifying, trying to tear another's character down, etc. You don't have any problem coveting, desiring things when it's not meant for you to have. And you can do everything but honor the Creator and your brother or sister. So this is the difference when it comes down to a state of consciousness, as our Moorish Canada has spoken on. If one does not put in check their special weaknesses, you know it's going to be allurements and attractions out there. And the Prophet let us know that those that were with him 2,000 years ago are with him today. Those that were against him 2,000 years ago are against him today. So it's that same battle dealing with warfare when it comes down to duality. And that's spoken of as man as truth and falsehood is strangely mixed. This is why it's key to be able to study the self. If you do, you'll be able to discern truth from falsehood. You'll know when someone is sincerely coming to you that is seeking truth, as opposed to one that's trying to hide the light. And Western Freemasonry, I don't care how great they make it look like, is designed to take our people off the count, keep them buried by whatever means necessary. And see, too often our people join organizational degrees because it look good, sound good, and think they got a little power. But when you do the research and look at how it's founded and what its purpose is, then you see that that's something that you don't want to be a part of unless, the intent is not honorable. So when we look at being able to leave the passions outside the door, to be able to open your heart to truth, to keep your heart dealing with your mindset full of love, then that oftentimes antagonizes people. As you stated, dealing with the competition. I got to get rid of you so I can survive. And that is a demarcated thought pattern. That is not the thought pattern of our ancestors. Even when it comes down to, well, the universe is black, therefore we are black. Not doing the research to go back and see where these terms and labels came from. So we give honor to our Prophet Noble Drew Ali, because you do have a mindset out here of many that want to be the new slave master so that they can have power and control over the masses to keep them dumbed down. It's not in the best interest of whether it be the Europeans or those that think like them to keep our people ignorant so that they can continue to exploit the masses. And the thing about it is, keep on forgetting about Allah, okay, thinking that his arm is weakened, because whatever you put out there on a universal order of things, especially if you're coming from intent that is not honorable, then you want to reap what you sow. I don't care what terminology you use, whatever you put out there in the universe, you want to get it back rightful. And woe unto those that sit there and deliberately try to redirect the course of somebody's salvation. Just like the Creator raises one up, he can lay one back down in the coffin. So it would behoove one to come from a level of
and being able to study, because you can't pull the wool over the eyes of someone that knows their history, knows when history is repeating itself, knows the pitfalls and things of that nature. But when you're walking around blindly, wandering around in the wilderness, and this is within one's own mindset, bottom feeders looking to tear down and destroy something, invariably you end up tearing down and destroying yourself. So the prophet said, I brought you something you can't tear. It's going to tear you up. And too often, with the arrogant mindset, or king ambition, or whatever label we want to put on that character that thinks that they know more than their own creator, that's opening the door, when they burnt up from the start, that's opening up the door for their own pitfall. So we are here not to try to beat one over the head, drag them to do anything. This is the beauty of being here with the spirit and part of the great God within you. You have the choice and the option. It's your will. You can't look to anything outside of yourself. Well, because of this circumstance, event, or what have you, that's why I am the way I am. The responsibility is yours. The degree is to study self and study self again. So gratitude more, calling me for a beautiful class. And I loved how you brought forth Heru Ami Abu in reference to the dweller of hearts versus what the label European wants to put on it, Hiram Abiff, removing that love divine thought pattern, but you can't banish the truth, Moorish Ken. And so when you try to extract love from the hearts and minds of our people, you suffer a terrible wrath and doom. So gratitude more for calling me forth. Much peace and love to all of our Moorish Ken. Islam.
And Islamism, we give honors to you, Grand National Secretary of State, for that droid. These were the same ones, acting as if they wanted to hear certain measures about the prophet, and all the while end up, like I say, when I turned around, I realized, wait a minute. Now, it was some Moors and people that wasn't Moors that was on the manifest that was definitely going back at them ones. Actually, it's one brother, like I say, I had met him the night before, and we started building, and he different paradigm from what we own, but he know about the prophet. He been there, he studied the prophet, but the thing is when I left that platform, you can see them ones in there standing in the fence, especially hard against that Mason, because one seen the agenda and what was going on. And I looked up, like I said, wait a minute, I'm dealing with a whole bunch of Eastern stars, and all of them got their own mentality.
Tell us out here you can't hardly hear it.
Yes, sir. Islam, Grand Man, pardon about it. We're going to pass it on to you because we don't know what Rome got going on through the frequency. So let us call forth our Grand National Chairman, Dr. Akin Acton Pert M. Heru Tooth to come and bay. Islam?
Islam?
Can you hear me clearly?
Yeah, I hear you now.
Okay, you got it, Grand Man.
All right, let me give praise to Allah and to the Prophet Nabi Raleigh. We had a very, very powerful measure. I want to give much honor to all those that spoke before me. It's a powerful class. And more, sometimes you have these little technical difficulties from time to time, but it has no measurement with the loyalty and the love and the truth that we bring you as a nation, as a government, as a people. So we are today who our forefathers were yesterday. So it's an honor and blessing. Thank you. It's a grand measure. Islam is without a schism. Thank you.
And gratitude. Yes, sir, Chairman. Yes, sir. That's right. These contraptions, they're going to be what they are, but we coming from the ethers. That's right. But let us call forth our National Grand Sheikh, Dr. Serapis Amin Raya.
Islam, Grand Man.
Islam.
We've been breaking off all the while, but we were all the way down to the lands of the little piece we got here. But what we say is everything is for its own alignment and its own degree of care or neglect. Because the one that is about being about his business, we ain't gonna have no problems. We don't know nothing about the issue per se, so we're not gonna speak any further on it. But we do say we love our Moorish kin and those who desire to be according to the law as it is written by us. Praise the Lord. January 15th, 1929, morning from the prophet, read at the end of every week. Everybody inform all sisters they must end all radical, agitating speeches while at work in their own on the streets. We are for peace, not destruction. Stop flags their guards, it causes confusion. Remember, your guard is for your salvation. Fail to obey these orders will be a severe consequence. We are failed to be a severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And when these principles are violated, justice will take its course. Any citizen, group of citizens who hold malicious feelings towards the government or the prophet or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement will receive a reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the laws laid down by the prophet. The loose confidence in the prophet. Sister in your card, but is when you turn the bridge, turn to the state where the prophet found. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet in the will of Allah to redeem people from their simple ways by the prophet number 2 out of it. Islam, Islam, Islam. January. Ye are the one father provided for bad care. The best one mother has given you son. The bonds of affection. Therefore, unite these with our brothers and teaching how to make the world in our Father's house. And when you separate in the world, another revelation inviting you to love and unity and prefer not a stranger before thy own blood. And our brothers in verse 16, but sisters in trouble forsake them not. So shall the fortunes of our Father given to support the soul race and his care be continued to you all in your love to each other. Islam, Islam, Islam. This meeting has been Christian closed according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Going through Lawrence, Islam. Great Clan, National Sister Grand Chief, Dr. Grand Clan. Love all you Moors. I know you Sister Grand Chief. We love you, Moors. Grand Clan. Take no prisoners. Grand Clan. Let's stay Moorish. Grand Clan. Right. Love. Peace and love, family.
Islam. Love you more. Don't forget to pay your dues. Great class. Great class.
Islam. Islam, Moorish movement, divine movement, everlasting movement. Islam. Don't let them tell you nothing different. Want to give honors to all our family out there in social media. Charles Warrior, Cena Renee, Kamaat, Jehudi, all of y'all family. Peace and love for all that you do. See you in the next message. Sunday school, Islam.
Goodbye.